a great video. Welcome everyone to our inaugural Branksome Hall Noodle Pitch competition. So excited to see what lies ahead for this evening. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, Reza Sachu, founder and managing partner of Aligned Vest Management Corporation. Reza is a senior lecturer at Harvard Business School and the founding chairman of Next Canada, the renowned intensive entrepreneurship program that provides education, mentorship, and startup funding to Canada's most promising entrepreneurs. Well, Reza, how are you feeling tonight on the eve of this competition?
These great pitches. And so I'm excited, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun today.
Great. Thanks, Reza. It's going to be inspirational, that's for sure. A little background. In 2019, Branksome launched Noodle, Canada's first accelerator at the high school level. The Noodle Accelerator is a 38-week intensive entrepreneurial education program. Now, as many of you know, accelerators most commonly are found in the university sector, encouraging the development of startups and supporting individuals and teams who are interested in entrepreneurship to realize their innovative ideas. Well, at Branksome, students from grades 7 to 12 had the opportunity to apply to this program that was created in-house. The 8 teams you'll see tonight, they've received personalized programming that is really designed to enhance and harness their creative problem-solving skills. At the same time, the students have access to faculty, expert advisors, and entrepreneurs with the specialized know-how necessary to help them develop and hone their ideas and enterprise with a social impact. Noodle's ultimate goal is to balance the significant gender gap across current science, technology, engineering, and entrepreneurial landscapes. I like to think that all the supporters who make the Noodle program possible and really reach out and say words of thanks and acknowledgement to them tonight. So let me begin by thanking Mary Leslie Hallward, an alum from the class of 1974 and one of Branksome's most generous donors. Mary Hallward is an enthusiastic supporter of students, innovation, and entrepreneurship at Branksome Hall. I would also like to thank the following supporters who gave so generously of their time, expertise, and donations towards this program, including Justin Lafayette, Lauren Lake, Mallory Brody, Reza Sachu, and also to thank Optimize Wealth Management. In addition, a special shout out to the employees of Branksome Hall who helped and got involved with the initial applicant review for the Noodle teams. These are just a few of the many contributions to this program, a program that we look forward to growing over time. Tonight, Noodle culminates with the students and teams pitching their innovations to a panel of expert judges for the chance to win one of 3 Mary Leslie Hallward 74 Innovation Awards. The top team of students will win $10,000 in additional seed funding for their venture, while the first and second runner-ups, voted on by our audience tonight who are tuning in, will be awarded seed funding valued at up to $1,400 respectively. So listen, Reza, my partner tonight, what are your thoughts? You've inspired so many people over the years, but look at where we've landed at Branksome Hall. I'd really love to hear your thoughts on year 1 of Branksome Noodle and what what's on your mind.
You know, my thoughts are that I should learn how to use the mute button better. But the second thing I'd like to say is that I wish I could be in this competition because $10,000 isn't bad. I got to tell you, that sounds pretty attractive. But Karen, what I'd like to start with is I define entrepreneurship as the relentless pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled, right? And so I think if you think about that definition and let's take a step back and you think about this program Noodle, it really does exemplify that definition. I remember when your team first came up with this idea and really had no real comparables at other high schools that if we were doing this sort of thing, didn't have much in the way of resources and really pulled it together. And I do want to say that I have been very impressed with your team and what they've done. And I think that this hopefully bodes very well for Branksome and its foray into entrepreneurship. And this is the first of many things. And so I think this is terrific. And I think, having these young budding entrepreneurs sort of feeling their oats and thinking about ways in which to build something is critically important.
So happy to hear you say that and focus on the entrepreneurship focus for our students. And as someone who's really made his mark in our country, Reza, and inspired and given the opportunity to so many young people to pursue their dreams and their innovation to make Canada a better place, why is it so important for high school students to understand entrepreneurship and to engage?
Look, I think it is critically important. I sort of think about entrepreneurship as a muscle. That's something that you have to train, and you will fail a bunch of times, but every time you fail, you'll get better at it. And the earlier we can create and train that muscle, the better. And so if you think about, if I walk into a room and I say, how many of people here want to be entrepreneurs? The vast majority will say yes, because they'll think, you know what, it gets me power, money, but ultimately it gives them freedom to have an impact. And so the question is, what blocks people from becoming entrepreneurs? And I'd say there are two things, and this will relate right to your question, Karen. There are two things that ultimately, in my experience, blocks people from becoming entrepreneurs. One is this question of, how can I possibly have a good idea? How is it possible that I can know more about something than someone else who has so much more information or resources or capital than I do? And then the second thing is, even if I have a good idea, I just wish I had a little bit more information in order to make this decision. If I had just a little bit more information, I promise you I will take this risk. And those are the two greatest things that impede people from actually, I think, becoming entrepreneurs. And so the ability for people at a young age to sort of say, you know what, I'm going to suspend disbelief that someone who has much more power, much more money than I do, and actually believe that an idea that I'm passionate about could have real potential, and to actually do it with limited resources and limited information. And so I think the fact that you are inspiring kids to do this at this age will serve them very well going forward.
Mm-hmm. I believe this will happen. I believe that the students of Branksome Hall and hopefully high school students across our country will begin to realize that they can overcome those barriers. And thank you for defining them so clearly. It's something that I think we need to embrace as educators and society as we embrace entrepreneurship. Speaking of entrepreneurs, I'm going to turn the platform over to Michael Ianni Pilarchio, our Director of Technology and Innovation, a serial entrepreneur, if I may say, who found his way to Branksome Hall, where he decided this was a good place to land and be employed and inspire young people and employees equally. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks very much, Karen. And I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's exciting program. Don't let anybody tell you that tonight is not the most exciting night of the week. These teams that we have here this evening are amazing. You know this if you've watched the pitch videos, which I know that many of you attending this evening have. When you see those videos, one word comes to mind, and that's amazing. It's hard to believe that really this journey for all of these students started over a year ago. And that's a really important thing, because people look at entrepreneurs and they look at the companies that they start, and you're seeing a moment in time, and they don't always think about the journey. And over the past year, it's really been an incredible journey. All of you students that are here, you have grown in the past year in incredible ways. For all of you attendees who haven't seen that journey week after week, day after day, we've watched these young entrepreneurs pitch ideas and turn them into companies. Just stop and think about that for a minute. Ideas into companies. And then they developed those companies. They tried things, they took risks, they made mistakes, they learned from those mistakes, and they evolved their companies. And on top of it all, they had to deal with a global pandemic. And that's something that every company and entrepreneur in the world has had to deal with. And let me tell you, it's hard. And these teams did it. And for me, watching them, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's been fun, and it's truly been inspiring. Now, the voting. Tonight, it's culminating in this exciting event, and our judges, who you'll meet shortly, have had time to review the ventures. They've had time to ask these founders questions, and let me tell you, they were hard questions. And they took that opportunity to score each of the companies, and that will determine this evening's first place winner. And we're super excited to have all of you that are joining us online to participate in determining the second and third place winners, the People's Choice Award. And I want you to keep in mind a little bit of criteria that the students have used all along through this process. When you are voting on the People's Choice Award, think about feasibility. How feasible is this company to go on into the future and do what it promises to do? Secondly, how unique is this company in the marketplace when you hear these pitches? And how much impact? Remember that the Noodle program was there to inspire entrepreneurs, but to also couple profit with purpose. So I want you to keep in mind, just as the judges have, what is the social good impact that each of these companies will have on the world? The voting itself, when Ms. Jervich opens it up, I will place a link in the chat. You can click on that link and you can cast your vote, 2 votes, for the second and third place winners. Thanks very much for letting me introduce this, and I'll turn that back over to you, Ms. Jervich.
Thank you, Michael, and truly thank you for giving us some good insight into the experience that these students have had. So important, and it's their night. So your energy, Michael, and vision has helped us lead the way, and now let's get started. And a place to start, of course, is by introducing the judges, beginning with Eva Lau, a Branksome Hall board member and parent of a recent alum, Naomi, class of 2020, and current grade 10 student, Peony. This entrepreneur turned investor is one of the few women leading a venture fund in Canada, Two Small Fish Ventures. Eva was previously Wattpad's head of community and content, now the largest consumer internet company in Canada. Stacy Klein, an alum from the class of 01, she is the co-founder of CEO of Auto Intelligence, a financial technology company. Stacy is also the founder and managing partner of the Good Fund, an impact fund that invests in startups. Previously, Stacy was the director of innovation projects at Goodman's LLP, where she was also practicing as a corporate lawyer. Jennifer Cummins, an alum from the class of 93 and the founder and CEO of Pluck Tea Incorporated. Jennifer has won awards at the World Tea Expo and the Tea Associations of the US and Canada. Her customers include the Parliamentary Dining Room at Parliament Hill, the Governor General's House, and the Canadian Embassy in Washington. Our students are very familiar with Jennifer's Pluck Tea, including the school's very own Branksome blend, especially created for her alma mater. It is now time to introduce you to the stars of this event, 8 student teams who have worked so tirelessly over the past year to bring their social enterprises to life. From a company focused on increasing financial literacy in teens to an app bringing medical professionals together, and from a speech necklace amplifying seniors' voices to a venture inspiring tree planting worldwide. We'd like to introduce you to our first 4 teams. After the video, each team will have a final chance at pitching their enterprises, followed by feedback from each of the judges. And just a reminder, the polls are now open. Please click on the link in the chat function to vote for your top 2 picks. Let's play the highlights video.
Our goal is to link general practitioners to specialists in the GTA, improving lives one connection at a time.
The key features include a login page that requires license verification to ensure the safety and privacy of our users. A search page where users can explore doctors based on specialty or location. A message page for direct communication with other users. And a profile page that displays the user's name, title, place of work, education, and previous experience.
We are aiming for a market share of 5%. Based on our competitors with an expected customer retention rate of 30%, we can sell approximately 1,350 memberships.
Our product will not only eliminate challenges faced by Canadian physicians, but will create a fast and accessible way to ensure certainty before diagnosis and treatment, all while alleviating the growing pressures on our healthcare system.
What is the speech necklace? It is an amplification device that you wear around your neck. It has a built-in microphone, so when the patient speaks, it amplifies their voice.
We did hours worth of research and couldn't find one good voice amplifier that wasn't heavy, expensive, and outdated.
Even though we have had to take a pivot from our original plan due to the global pandemic, we took an entrepreneurial approach and came up with a new idea. Our newest project is a Noodle kit.
Noodle kits are little packages filled with all the important items that senior citizens need during a global pandemic and beyond. 2 reusable masks, 2 bottles of hand sanitizer, and a labeled reusable water bottle.
We have also made a website where you can purchase your own Noodle kit or donate, which would go towards making more Noodle kits and for manufacturing the speech necklace when the pandemic is over.
Through the app, players will learn along with Bella about personal finance, learning about coins and money values, then exploring topics from bank accounts, interest, investing, and more.
Our main target markets are schools and parents and families, the main actors who influence children on a daily basis.
Our competitive advantage is the fact that we are an app for kids made by kids, and we know how they think, what they find fun, and how to target their appeal. For the most part, our app will be a free download to the public. We can then introduce a subscription option of a small monthly fee, which will grant users unlimited access to all games and lessons.
Winning $10,000 could be transformational for our company. With this money, we will first and foremost pay a software developing company to build our app. And depending on the finalized price for payment, we will allocate the rest of our money towards publishing and printing a children's storybook.
We truly believe that the advantages of online learning through interactive games will inspire the next generation to lead our economy in the right direction.
Today, our pitch focuses on Tree CO2's Student Ambassador Program, or SAP.
The SAF is a leadership program, inviting students to join Tree CO2 on tree planting field trips in partnership with local conservation authorities.
We are launching a prototype Plantathon pledge platform, similar to the Terry Fox Run model. If a school exceeds this event goal, the excess funds will cover the costs of schools who are unable to meet their field trip goal. This self-sustaining model will ensure sustainability and scalability.
Tree CO2 is unique in that we serve as a bridge between students, conservation authorities, and funding partners to bring climate collaboration to life.
We believe that these are the reasons that you should invest in us. We have proven feasibility and success, critical social impact, and a unique and sustainable business plan.
Plant a tree, plant a future.
Well, that is terrific. I got to tell you, my only concern is that Eva's venture fund may have already invested in all of these companies. I mean, that was a terrific job. And you know what's interesting is each of the teams identified a real customer problem, talked about a market that they want to operate in, and had a real plan, and also asked for the order and said why they needed the money. So I think it's each of you did a fantastic job in that video. So here's what we're going to do. Each of our students will now have 1 minute for final pitches before we then get feedback from each of the judges. Okay, so we're going to begin with the grade 12 students: Elizabeth Kingsmill, Emma Joe, Arissa Guy, whose business is called Clinical Connections X, or CCX. So if the three of you will give you a minute to give some final words, please.
Clinical Connections X aims to enhance the interaction between doctors in order to increase accessibility to quality medical care in all communities across Canada.
Terrific. Okay, so Eva, I'm gonna. Sorry, Emma, are you gonna say something?
Yeah, sorry, we're not done.
Please go ahead.
In order to link general practitioners to specialists in the GTA, we are working to develop an app-based technology to encourage the sharing of knowledge, diagnosis guidance, treatment tips, and other expertise.
By supporting a safe, accessible, and informative medical network, we hope to create a positive social impact on both doctors and patients, improving lives one connection at a time. With the $10,000, we hope to develop a tangible app and expand our platform outside of the GTA. If you have any questions or concerns, please visit our website at clinicalconnectionsx.com. Thank you.
Okay, so I want you guys to know that I'm completely sold, but we've now got to go to the big bad judges and hear what they have to say. So I'm going to ask each of Eva, Stacy, and Jennifer to give feedback. Each of you, if you can take a minute or two, and maybe Eva, I'll start with you, please.
Yeah, I really like this idea that there's a supply and a demand problem that we're trying to solve here. There are general practitioner needs to have advice, and seek out to the specialist doctors. So there's a demand of a specific service. And obviously those specialist doctors have to be able to supply those answers in an on-demand basis. So this is really something that I am very passionate about, it's a two-sided marketplace. One thing that I have, told the team, and I would like to kind of share it also to the broader audience here, is that for any product that has a supply and demand issue, the most important thing is actually not just so much about, we want to have people connect together and solve a problem together, because for both sides of the economy, there must be something driving them to do something. So obviously for those doctors who want to ask questions, they're in demand of those services. Say, hey, I have a problem, help me. I have a problem, help me. But for the supply side, that's where most of the time where the problem comes up. The doctors are overworked. They are volunteering their time. Why do they want to spend the time in the middle of the night and respond to a question when someone say, I have a problem, please help me. So I think, if I were to look at this opportunity as an investor, I would encourage, the team to spend more time, which they already did, in terms of understanding, the volunteering aspect of some specialist doctor, but is to think about how do you bake incentives in the product so that the supply and the demand will be able to kind of come into an equilibrium, meaning that people are willing to come in to help, and people are, excited to come in and ask for help. And I think, if they can answer that question, this is certainly going to be a very interesting and viable business.
Perfect. Thank you, Eva. Stacy, your thoughts?
That mute button.
Yeah.
I agree with this feedback. I think that this team has done a wonderful job of articulating the problem. I think it's phenomenal that they really went out and validated the need for this by speaking to practitioners who are identifying that this is a problem. I agree with Ms. Lau's feedback that really this is a two-sided marketplace. And I think what's clear from a social impact perspective is if you can serve both the supply and demand side and bring them together, that there will be a clear impact. My feedback to the group has to do with really thinking about how you can measure that impact, report on it to potential investors down the road, and to the world at large, to show the benefits of creating this kind of marketplace, and in that find a way to scale your business. So that would be my feedback to the team, and I hope to see this come to life. Congratulations on the excellent work so far.
Terrific. Thanks, Stacy. Jennifer, your thoughts?
Hi, everyone. Wonderful to be here tonight. Thanks again for including me in this amazing adventure with all of you. And I have to say, I'm so impressed with all the teams. But listen, Clinical Connections, I mean, you are solving a real problem that affects lives. It affects lives every day. And I think the problem that you're solving is, yes, absolutely, as Ms. Lau said, a supply and demand issue. You've got a fantastically strong social aspect here. But I think you also, as I mentioned before, you have a bit of a data play here that I'd love for you to just go a little deeper on at some point. I think that your app could have the power to identify areas in remote locations in Canada where perhaps some specialists are needed. And I think there are a lot of stakeholders who would love to get that information. And I also think that, it's also disruptive in that a lot of practitioners are probably, they've got a hot list of their favorite specialists on call. And I think it's really important to give new and young doctors an opportunity to participate wholly in the healthcare system. Also a huge fan of anything that makes our first responders' lives easier and improves access. So well done. So 2 thumbs up, great job, and just a really excellent presentation. So thank you.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you to the CCX team. Okay, next on our list is Speech Necklace. The founders, now this is remarkable, they're grade 9 students, young entrepreneurs, Selma Ray and Maddie Newell. Selma and Maddie, if you can please introduce your business.
Hello. Our names are Maddie Newell and Selma Ray, and our company name is the Speech Necklace. Our project aims to help people with speech disabilities with a device that amplifies your voice. If we win the $10,000, we will hire an engineer to help perfect our speech necklace design and a manufacturer to help get the necklaces out into the market. We will also continue to make the noodle kits to keep bringing in revenue.
In order to pay for the construction of the speech necklace, we have created noodle kits, which consist of 2 reusable masks, 2 bottles of hand sanitizer, and a reusable water bottle with our logo on it. Our motto, "Be heard, make a change," will drive us to be remarkable. Thank you.
Well done. Terrific. Okay, Eva, over to you, please.
I really like this idea because always love to see fashion and innovation and technology, married together. So having a speech necklace, look at mine, it's not a speech necklace, but it's a good one. I think it's going to be so much fun. There are a couple of things that I want to introduce, to the team here. Right now, you are trying to kind of raise funding. That's why you have the kit, trying to kind of get some funding to get yourself funded and potentially winning this competition so that you have $10,000. Let me introduce you a new idea, which I haven't shared with you before, but I think this is the perfect time because we have 161 attendees right now in the room. There's something called the Friends and Family Round before you raise the seed funding. So what that means is you go around to your friends and family, rally them, how great this idea is, and get a small amount of money to get started. I actually think that you can yourself build a not so perfect prototype to just show the world what this is all about. It could be just with some speakers or microphones that you can kind of get off the shelf, make it pretty up so that people can visualize what this is all about. And once you can have the emotional and visual connections with your constituents, I'm sure you're going to be able to raise funding and get your product going.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Eva. Stacy, what about some feedback from you?
Yeah, another fantastic idea. To this team, I really enjoyed the fact that you let us know the story behind the idea for this product, that it really came from a personal experience and a personal family problem. I think some of the best ideas are born out of exactly those kinds of experiences. And I love that you are taking the initiative with that to really address it, and that you've gone out to look for ways to do that and using the best approach possible to really meet a need in a very defined, well-defined market. So congratulations on that. I think that I've shared with you a little bit of feedback in terms of how you think about your competitors in this space. And interestingly, you know, with COVID, there have been definitely some challenges, but also some opportunities. And I think that there might be some ways to think about not only who you're competing with in this space. I think with COVID and all of us wearing masks all the time now, there's a new need for voice amplification. So on the one hand, there might be other competitors out there. On the other hand, there might be an even broader market for you to address once you've proven yourselves in the market that you're going after. So I would keep up the good work and look forward to learning about your progress and where this goes.
Great. Now, Jennifer, I want you to think back when you were in grade 9 at Branksome and whether these were the kinds of things you were doing or not, but your feedback, please.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because when I was at Branksome, there was a program called Junior Achievement. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I was a participant. So I am a big proponent that you start young, you make your mistakes early, and then you've got a great opportunity for a bright future. And you guys absolutely do. Girls, this is a fantastic problem-solving product. And I think your friends and family round absolutely should include your grandfather and Norman. So make sure they're on the list, okay? Because I think they probably gave you a lot of inspiration here. I think the biggest part of this that resonated with me was that you pivoted. You know, you realized that you had an issue with COVID. I, as a business owner, can tell you we certainly did. And for you to think on your feet and pivot to a very useful product that is very timely, it's easy to execute, and probably has a good profit margin was a phenomenal move. And that shows me that you're true entrepreneurs, and that you're flexible and you've got tenacity. And I think that, you know, that's probably 90% of the battle. So congratulations on a phenomenal pitch, and all the best and good luck. I can't wait to hear the next steps.
Yeah, well done, Selma and Maddie. So just before I introduce the next team, I just want to say one quick thing, which is we've got, as someone mentioned, we've got 160 people. Now, I imagine a lot of people are, a lot of the students not presenting are on because they are supporting their friends. But I would say that, you know, I suspect you're also on because you're interested in entrepreneurship. And one of the things that is key about entrepreneurship, people very much focus on capital. You know, I need to raise the money. The only thing more important than capital, I would say, as a young entrepreneur, is mentorship and judgment, having people who can provide you with judgment. And so I hope you're listening closely to this advice, because it is actually applicable not just to any one particular business, but across any business that you might choose. When they talk about minimum viable product and things like that, it is incredibly important as you think about becoming an entrepreneur. Okay, so let's go to our next team, which is Bella's Bucks, which is founded by 2 grade 11 students, Amanda Lee and Thea McDonald. So Amanda and Thea, over to you.
Hi. We are Bella's Bucks, and we aim to address the problem of financial illiteracy head on in the youth by creating an app with games, simulations, and lessons.
The social impact our app would bring to our community would be immense, as the future of our economy depends on the choices of the next generation.
We believe that an accessible online platform will reach a wider audience, especially when youth have such a strong presence online.
This will help us achieve our goal of making the future a brighter, more financially literate society. So join us and Bella to begin banking for the future. Please visit our website, www.bellasbucks.com, for more information.
Great. Good job, guys. Thank you. Eva, over to you for some feedback.
I can't wait for this app to be available, obviously. I have 2 daughters, and I certainly want to make sure that they have the financial literacy when they get into adulthood. One of them is already in adulthood, but you know, it's never too late to teach them, you know, more financial skill. The feedback that I would like to give to the team here is that one thing that sometimes I feel that for any entrepreneurs who want to get into the digital space, it's very common for them to think about, okay, I need to raise some money and get some software engineers to develop the product for me. To me, I actually think that this is a very risky step to be the very first step. The reason is because the number one most valuable resources that any entrepreneurs can have is cash. And you certainly don't want to kind of give those money to someone have no skin in the game or no a passion to run this journey with you on a long-term basis. So you have to preserve that as much as you can. So I would suggest that if you were to think about this reward that you'll be getting, the $10,000, think about how do you actually maximize that by creating prototype just yourself. Maybe build, the very first prototype on scratch. How do you kind of get the financial literacy across as a free game just on scratch, and get some feedback directly from your target audience? Because at the end of the day, kids developing an app for the kids. So that is probably a more resourceful way for you to move forward. But I really like this idea. I know that this is a competitive space for sure, but I really like the angle of kids knowing the kids best. So you probably use the examples in the learning much closer to the heart of your target audience. So good luck.
Great, terrific. Stacy, over to you.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree with that feedback. And I think that, to start off, Bella is just so fantastic and engaging. I love the character that you've conceptualized. It's really fun, and it really speaks to the vision that you want to execute on. So that's great. I also really echo what Ms. Lau said in terms of where you see your competitive advantage. It is a crowded space because financial literacy is a real need. And I have no doubt that if you go after this and continue to pursue your vision, that you are going to stand out because you are your market and you know your market best. So I would go all in on that and continue to understand that that is your competitive advantage and see yourself as winners in this space because of it. When we have the opportunity to ask you questions, I put the impact measurement question to you. This will have an obvious social impact of if you're able to get out there and empower financial literacy. And when I asked you about how you might think about measuring that impact, I loved your honest response. I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes we have the misperception that we have to know everything from the beginning. And you were quite honest in saying that you hadn't really put a lot of thought into that, but you came up right off the cuff with some really great ways that you might approach that. And I think that I just wanted to note to the whole audience that will really stand you in great stead in terms of pushing this idea forward, or really any idea, to come to the table with an open mind, knowing that if you don't know something, you're going to learn it, you're going to figure it out. So that's great. Congrats.
Yeah, terrific. And no one's going to invest in you if they don't trust you from right from the beginning. Jennifer, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you. Echoing the other judges, Ms. Lau and Ms. Klein's comments, what you're doing here is really important. I know when my parents tried to teach me about financial literacy, they gave me a copy of Dave Chilton's book called The Wealthy Barber and said, good luck. Money wasn't talked about in my family. So anything to make it easier, to reduce stigma, to make it approachable, and most of all, to make it fun, I think is a really positive step forward with a long-term impact to our whole country and potentially beyond. One of the things we talked about in the last session was about potentially partnering with charter banks. Once you have enough market share and you have that awareness, potentially helping them take you to the next step, making sure you hold on to as much equity as you can all the way along. It's such a compelling story that you're creating a solution for people in your own age group, and there's nothing better than that. So congratulations and good luck.
Great, terrific. Thanks, Thea. Thanks, Amanda. Good luck. Okay, so lastly, I'd like to introduce our grade 11 twin founders, Caitlin and Lauren Grierson of Trees CO2, and there they are. Go ahead, Caitlin and Lauren, please.
What if your business just got an order
for 1 trillion.
The World Economic Forum set a goal to restore, conserve, and grow 1 trillion trees. Last September, we issued a call to action at the first ever Youth Climate Summit at the United Nations to plant 1,000 trees for every youth in the world, equaling 1 trillion trees.
Through our Student Ambassador Program, we are empowering youth to take direct climate action. To date, we have raised $30,000 and our tree count is 4,500 trees.
Our next steps are launching our Plantathon Pledge platform and delivering online SAP programs and working with a Canadian drone tree planting company who plant 1 tree pod per second.
Plant a tree, plant a future.
Great, well done. Eva, over to you. What are your thoughts on tree CO2?
First of all, I just want to congratulate the twins that they are getting a very, very important movement happening right now in our city, in our country. This is a very, very important initiative that I cannot stress enough, like how important it is to save our planet. Looking at all the forest fire that's happening, it's heartbreaking how fast our the world is kind of like crumbling in some ways because of the climate change. So this is a very, very important initiative. There are a couple of things I want to kind of like also want to kind of highlight how great you guys are doing. It's, the Student Ambassador Program. This is really has to happen in a grassroots way that people, buy into the idea, they're passionate about it, and they want to really pick up the ball and run with it, type of initiative. So I think you guys have all the energies to make it happen. A couple of things that I want to highlight, and we've talked about it in our meeting last week, was this is an idea that it's kind of like borderlining on, is it a nonprofit or is it a for-profit? Because we've talked about, the carbon offset potentially as a marketplace or potentially as some sort of a monetization model. So one thing is very important, then you have to do what I call like a 360 stakeholders analysis, because there are many, many different players in this space, including the student bodies, the nonprofit aspect, donors, and potentially investors, and then potentially actually customers who actually want to use your carbon offset, from the trees that you plant. So not, by understanding all the different stakeholders' need and incentive, probably you'll be able to structure an awesome structure that can balance all the stakeholders' need and become a viable business. So I think you guys get the beginning of this whole journey started on the right foot. So keep going. Congratulations.
Great, thanks, Eva. Stacy, over to you.
Yeah. Another, congratulations. It's certainly in order. I was extremely impressed when I watched your pitch and read your materials, seeing that this is an idea that you founded and got off the ground back in 2016, I believe. It's really incredible to see that you've really taken something from an idea into action and execution. And I can't say enough about how impressed I am that you've done this and how far you've come. Some of my questions revolve around how you might think about scaling this in the long term, and especially in light of our current environment, thinking about how do you take a program that was initially conceptualized as something that is more event-based or in person and transition that into perhaps something that's online, or provide the same opportunities for education and experience, but in a new way. To Ms. Lau's point, there's no doubt that climate change is only going to become increasingly relevant, and that you're doing something that is very important to turn attention to. So, I think that you are clearly in the right position to continue to push this forward, whether ultimately it's a for-profit business or not for profit. I think you've done an incredibly successful job of articulating a very clear goal of 1 trillion trees, and I look forward to seeing you achieve that.
Terrific. Thank you, Stacy. Jennifer, over to you, please.
Thank you so much. Girls, I have to say I had to watch your pitch 3 times in a row. I could not believe how incredibly well developed this idea was. I think you were one of the only teams that actually provided a profit and loss projection. You had a nice budget document there that went through your costs and your potential margins. And that's really outstanding. And it's from a perspective of an investor, really important to know that you know your numbers and you already have proof of concept. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to say quit Branksome and start now. That would be wrong. But I think you're 90% there, if not 95. And I just think the passion that you bring to this is immense and very, very impressive. Not to say for your age, because I think young people can move mountains, and you are 2 of them. So thank you so much for taking this on. I think we're going to have a better planet for you. So thank you. Really well done.
Well, I'm going to jump in here, and I want to just take a moment and thank the judges for that great round of feedback. And we're just going to prepare now to the next round of our remaining student teams. From a company bringing clean water to Indigenous communities, to a company bringing hemp to the feminine hygiene sector, and from a fashion brand aimed at stopping fast fashion to a skincare company tackling food waste, you will no doubt be impressed by these innovative enterprises. And just a reminder before we begin that polls are closing after the last team presentation and judges' feedback. Please do not forget to pick your top 2 teams.
We're the co-founders of Cubed Water, a paper-based water company, which for every bottle that is bought, the equivalent amount of water is donated to an Indigenous community which lacks access to clean water.
There are up to as many as 174 water advisories in First Nation communities, with over 60 of them being long-term advisories.
It takes plastic around 1,000 years to decompose. And to put this into perspective, around 1 million water bottles are purchased every single minute. This presents a tremendous opportunity for us as a company because our one-for-one business model fills both of these needs.
We are very proud to announce the design and launch of our paper-based water bottle, which is both 100% recyclable and 100% biodegradable. We are certain and absolutely convinced that with the $10,000, our product launch will become viral instantly across Canada.
GYNECO is a company aimed at creating a completely environmentally sustainable hygiene product brand. Our main focus revolves around the use of hemp-based materials as a substitute for the harmful plastics currently used in the hygiene and personal care product industry. Hemp is a source of food, textile making, as well as medicine. It's considerably stronger and cheaper than leading materials such as fiberglass and carbon fiber. As well, it's a natural remedy, as it contains essential fatty acids that soothe the skin with anti-inflammatory properties, as well as promoting skin cell renewal. So our brand is directed towards people who want to start changing their old, unsustainable lifestyles to induce change on a global scale.
So many consumers are left unaware of what goes into their skincare products. Consumers are also disconnected from the consequences of their food production. We source our fruits and vegetables from local farms, where it would otherwise be discarded for not meeting the aesthetic criteria to reach grocery stores and retailers.
Our first subscription box, the Autumn Sampler at $40, contains a melange of Canadian fruits and vegetables that are in season in the fall, eliminating the need to import foreign produce.
Sustainability and subscription products are in especially high demand for our target demographic, focusing on millennials and Gen Zs ages 15 to 37. We are looking for the $10,000 to begin the manufacturing of our new seasonal line. We will allocate $5,000 to producing 150 units by the end of 2020 and the rest of the funds towards conducting new marketing campaigns and also covering any ongoing operational expenses.
The purpose of our company is to solve the negative environmental impacts of fast fashion.
A single t-shirt takes about 2,700 liters of water to make. That's the same amount of water an average person drinks over the course of 2.5 years.
We intend to create a clothing line that sells repurposed vintage and used clothing pieces marketed to a younger demographic of teenage girls. But we believe that sustainability for cheap will be enough to convert the average teen girl who is growing more and more environmentally conscious and concerned with sustainability. In terms of acquiring inventory, we intend to start local by collecting donations from our community. The three of us plan to be an active part of the manufacturing team and have been up until this point.
We hope that all of this will eventually lead to a permanent retail location.
I have to tell you, I love the tagline, induce change on a global scale. You know, I thought we were stacking all our best teams at the beginning, but it just keeps getting better. So I want all of you guys to download the Next Canada application and make sure that you store it away for a couple of years, because I expect all of you to apply. Okay, so let's start with Cubed Water, founded by grade 12 students, Victoria McGraw, Samina Samani, Kate and Lily Downey. So over to the Cubed Water team.
Hi, we're the co-founders of Cubed Water, a paper-based water bottle company, which for every bottle sold, we provide the equivalent amount of water to First Nations communities in Canada who lack access to safe water. We started this company in the hopes of simultaneously combating Canadian Indigenous water crisis and the amount of single-use plastic produced.
Our 100% recyclable and biodegradable water bottle is currently being sold in Summerhill Market, with the hopes of expanding into broader-based companies such as Sobeys, who we are currently in communication with. In our collaboration with Chief Emily Wu-Tang, we have scheduled a presentation with the entire council of our First Nations community about our efforts to deliver water to their residents in need.
And thankfully, the market has been responding. Sales at Summerhill are soaring, and we've sold out of all our products online. Keeping up with demand is a major focus for us right now, and so we're already off to a great start.
Great, thank you, well done. So why don't we mix it up, and Jennifer, can we start with you on the feedback, please?
Oh, amazing. Yes, start with the beverage girl.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, fantastic concept. I love everything about this, and you are solving a problem that honestly needs to be solved. Everyone in Canada should have the right to clean water, and unfortunately, the ball's been dropped in Indigenous communities for far too long. So, thank you for taking this on, and thrilled to hear the updates on Sobeys and also your sell-through in Summerhill Market. That's incredible. I loved that you were able to clearly articulate the problem you were trying to solve. I think the one-from-one model has been proven by many other companies, such as Tom's Shoes, I guess would be a good example. And I think that that's going to be a very clear call to action to your customers to continue to support the product. My only caution would be, and I know we talked about it a little bit before, once you start to take over the world and you're fielding calls from people at Loblaws, just be aware that your pricing model needs to take into consideration the pretty high listing fees that can start to come into play. So I know you can solve that problem. It's by no means a barrier. Just make sure when you're doing your pricing strategy that you're thinking about building at scale for the future. But wonderful job and an excellent pitch, and good luck.
Sorry, I'm on mute.
Yeah, nope.
Sorry, Stacy. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thanks. I mean, having to keep up with demand is not the worst problem to have, and that's wow. I think it's so impressive that you have gone all the way from an idea of a company in your head to a fully biodegradable water bottle and product that you can hold in your hand and is on store shelves. That is amazing. One thing that we talked about a little bit in the session that we got to have was thinking about, how can you, continue to expand your vision in terms of, in every way that you market your product. So one of the things that you were doing, which is great, is that you came out with some swag. You want to promote your business. That's phenomenal. One of the things that you have is a reusable water bottle, and we noted that it would just be something interesting to think about, actually using your water bottle rather than a plastic water bottle as something that you can sell, both with and without the water. I think that there is no doubt that you have an extremely well articulated social impact with your product. One of the other things we talked about was making sure, I asked you a bit about the name Cubed, and you had a great answer for why you came to that name. I would encourage you to continue to think about how you're communicating your social impact to your customers, and making sure that that's extremely clear, that when you buy a bottle of Cubed water, you're not just buying water, you're also supplying water and helping an Indigenous community, and that's a really phenomenal thing. So keep at it, and congratulations on where you've come.
Great, thank you, Stacy. Eva, some final words for this team.
I think that the team is really addressing a problem that our country should have addressed much earlier on than right now, and we are still having many Indigenous communities struggling with clean water supply. So I think this is a venture that will have huge social impact, and I think they started with the right framework and thinking. But at the same time, I want to kind of also highlight that, from a consumer perspective, consumer actually have many choices when it comes to, getting what I call portable water. They can bring their own bottle to work. Now that, with COVID, people can just kind of like stay home and drink. So reusable bottles. And then right now, Canada soon will be banning single-use plastic. So there will be water companies coming up with alternative when it comes to container. So what that means is that to differentiate your product with the slew of competitions that it's on Summerhill shelves really is the social impact piece, because there will be a single-use water bottle like from a Perrier or from other supplier that they have biodegradable bottles as well. So what I'm trying to kind of like drive here is that you have to think about your differentiation is the social impact. So sometimes what that means is you don't necessarily have to be boxing yourself in terms of, having that Cube water as your only product or only vision or only vehicle to actually deliver your social impact. And I think, I encourage you to think broader and, to bring the social impact, not only through the Cube water, but maybe other initiatives. And most importantly, to communicate the success of those initiatives so that you have a strong group of consumers buying into your vision and continue to support you as you scale.
Great, thank you, Eva. I'll tell you this, this advice, I've been in pitches where sometimes people just don't have advice. And what it means is that the pitch is completely uninspiring and uninteresting. And I think the thoughtfulness of the advice and the engagement that these teams are getting speaks to the quality of the ideas. So congratulations, Cube Water. I'm going to move on to our next team, which is the GYNECO founders, grade 11 students, Adeline Arthur and Isabel Fardham. So Adeline and Isabel, if you can introduce us to GYNECO.
Hi, sorry, yeah, just a correction. We're actually in grade 12.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
You're on grade 12 going into third year.
Okay, so GYNECO is a personal care brand that revolves entirely around the use of hemp-based materials in hygiene products as a substitute for the wasteful plastics that currently dominate within the hygiene industry.
So, our current product was made during a pivotal moment for our company, shifting our focus from creating and prototyping feminine hygiene items to supporting local businesses during COVID. This product contains a wide variety of local artisan-made goods, including hemp-based lip balms, bath bombs, body scrubs, soaps, and washcloths.
Our goal with the $10,000 would be to fund our original idea that we had to overlook due to the coronavirus, which was to create a sustainable tampon made entirely from hemp-based materials. This product would be new to the market and highly competitive within its field.
Wow. Okay, terrific. Well, that's an interesting idea. Jennifer, what do you think?
I think this is an awesome pitch. And I think this is a great idea, and it's solving a huge problem. And it's been one that's been on my mind for, since about 13 years old. So I think one of the best parts of the pitch and the conversation we had last time was your highlighting of, you're not just solving a problem of materials and non-sustainability, but you're also solving this more sensitive issue of younger girls, especially the ones that you know at Branksome, not being comfortable with some of the other alternatives out there, right? So there's the Diva Cup, there are other things that are very sustainable and environmental, or cardboard products that are not comfortable. And it's really important that we, meet people where they're at when it comes to introducing products. And I think your approach is very inspiring. You're also a really great example of a team that did pivot due to COVID. I want to encourage you to continue on this path, because I think what you can bring to market is going to change the world. So well done on all fronts: social impact, solving problems, all of it. Really, really inspiring stuff. Good job.
Great. Thanks, Jennifer. Stacy, over to you.
Yeah, I agree. I think, first of all, I have to commend you for pivoting. That is so hard to do. And you've been able to just pick yourselves up and think about how to continue on with the vision you had and what you wanted to achieve, and just think about a different way to go about that. I like that you, however, have expressed that if you're the winner tonight, you'll go back to your original vision. I think that absolutely is something that you should continue to pursue. And to Jennifer's point, I think that you'll gain a lot of traction in not having to change consumer behavior. I think, if people can just replace what they're using with a product that is much more environmentally friendly and in line with, perhaps how they, their personal preferences as a consumer, and thinking about sustainability, that you'll have a lot of success with that. And to that point, I would think about how you can find opportunities for educating your potential customer base on the benefits of hemp and alternative products, and how you can really easily make some small changes to your everyday habits that will have very significant effects on the environment, and really huge positive impacts. So to keep going. I can't wait to see you bring this to life.
Thanks, Stacy. And Eva, some final thoughts from you.
Yeah, so I want to congratulate the team on how thoughtful they are, even during the pivot. For any entrepreneurs, if every one of us continue to think about those people that have been, left behind because of innovation, I think the world would be in a much better place. So now, when during your pivot, you want to kind of think about, okay, maybe I need to go into some underrepresented entrepreneurs, artisans, and then help them sell the product. That's a very good start of being conscious about who in the ecosystem needed the lift and the support. So this is great. And I really want to kind of hats off to you guys. Now, going back to the original idea of hemp-based tampon, I think it's a great idea. But at the same time, there are many, many alternatives. When it comes to consumer packaged good, the biggest problem when it comes to competition is the barrier of entry is actually relatively low. They change a little bit of the material, they change packaging, then all of a sudden they have a new product. So what I really think you need to think about is what differentiate your brand and your product in the sea of competitions out there. And I think this is something that you need to explore more. I really like, having a group of young girls trying to create product for young girls. I remember the first time I had my period, I'm like, okay, what choices do I have? No one actually told me, at the time, and I was scrambling, with the horrific event that I just experienced. So I think, that may be an opportunity to, to think about maybe partnering with school, make the product available. Those are all the hooks that you can get your consumer to start connecting with you at the very beginning. So good luck.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, girls. That was terrific. Okay. We're going to move on to our next team. And I'm conscious of time, so we're going to move a little bit faster, although this is just all such great advice. So next up is Restore, and it is brought to you by the founders and grade 12 students, Kaya Christensen, Kaylin Kwan, and Kira Daru Santos. The 3 Ks. So over to you, please.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Kaylin Kwan, and I'm a co-founder of Restore Cosmetics, along with Kira and Kaya. At Restore, we provide sustainable self-care subscription boxes with a goal to tackle food waste and consumer unawareness.
The basis for our products are seasonal fruits and vegetables sourced from local farms, where they would otherwise be discarded for not meeting the aesthetic criteria to reach grocery stores or retailers. In just 3 months, we've sold out our autumn line, which was produced with our eco-manufacturer, Vittel Labs.
Our main goal is to do good while feeling good, whether it is helping to reduce food waste in Canada or educating consumers about their products. With the 10,000, we hope to develop our next seasonal line, the winter line, and start manufacturing full-size products. Help us sow the seeds for a more sustainable future.
Terrific. Thank you, girls. Jennifer, over to you, please.
Okay, I love this opportunity. I love this brand. I love everything about it. Your deck was absolutely beautiful. Well done on the graphic design piece as well. That makes such a huge impact when you're looking at an opportunity. So great job on all of it. And I love that you're talking about upcycling. As you know, and we talked about earlier, that's something that Pluck Tea believes in. And so one of the challenges you may encounter is scalability, making sure that you have that sustainable supply and that seasonality figured out so that you can go to market with phenomenal new products on a seasonal basis, and you'll be just fine. Just got to figure that piece out, and I think you're going to do great.
I agree. And I think that the glossary that you put together is fantastic. We talked about that being a great hook and way to engage your customer base, which is phenomenal. One of the things that I asked you about was, while you have this phenomenal, way to really make a difference in terms of the environment and food waste, you also are with your product producing some plastic waste. So I questioned you on that and how you might think about different ways to go about putting your product to market. One of the other things that we talked about was, which part of this business is something that you can do really, really well. And if you can focus on one piece of this chain, then you don't have to be every part of the solution. If what you do really, really well is sourcing the food waste, then you can turn that into so many different things. You can turn it into your cosmetics product, but it could also go to so many other uses. So maybe that's your expertise and maybe that's your business. And that was one thing I think we all encouraged you to think about, because Jennifer's point on the seasonality, you won't have to worry about that as much. I think that there's a phenomenal opportunity here, and I look forward to seeing where it goes and how it grows.
Great, thank you. Eva.
Yeah, I agree with Stacy and Jennifer's feedback so much that there's so many components in this process. And what worries me the most is when they have great success and they need to scale, then that's where the problem comes into the picture. Because right now they don't necessarily own the IP in terms of actually creating those cosmetics. They're relying on a lab that have that expertise to do it, and they are supplying those ingredients for them, and they're providing the marketing and perhaps stitching together a unique type of packaging to make it a very unique product. But essentially, the most important process of actually creating that cosmetic, they don't necessarily own it. So to me, it just creates risk. So I think, you know what, I love the idea of, you know, natural ingredient product, especially cosmetic. And one thing I want to highlight though, this company has such an impressive process that they even identify where to source the ingredient and how do they have multiple supply and seasonality of the ingredients so that they can actually plan different product lines in the process. So I actually think this team has something very special. They are very creative. They can understand what the constraints are. So as the point of what Stacy's saying is maybe their focus should be really focusing on one part of the whole value chain and do a really, really good job at that one. And perhaps expand their vision into something that they will be able to do a fantastic job with. And rather than relying on a single supplier that may upend the business, you know, when the relationship are not necessarily the smoothest. So that would be my feedback. But overall, I love the team. I love the idea. And I think, you know, they will be able to sell more product for sure.
Terrific. Congratulations to the Restore team. Okay, we're down to our last one. Certainly not our least. And this is Infinity Clothes. So I'd like to introduce you to our grade 11 founders, Chrishella Senadira, Ellie Sturton, and Nina Butterfield Cowan. So over to the three of you, please.
Hi, my name is Chrishella, and I represent Infinity Clothes, where we rework used clothing to create a vintage streetwear style for environmentally conscious teenage girls. By doing so, we contribute to the eradication of fast fashion, as it's the second largest consumer of the world's water supply and also one of the worst polluting industries in the world. At Infinity Clothes, we put an emphasis on sustainability, affordability, and fashion when designing our products. The $10,000 will allow us to create a stock of clothing and launch Infinity Clothes to the public in January, and we hope to have sustainable growth for Infinity Clothes. Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks, Chrishella. Okay, so Jennifer, over to you for some feedback, please.
Well, I can't wait till this gets off the ground because I would love to be a customer. I know I'm not a teenage girl and I might not wear the midriff tops that I saw on your website, but I hope there's going to be something there for me too, because this is a major issue. And, you know, we talked in the last conversation about the pollution that's caused by this, and even just the fibers getting into our water supply through laundry and all of these things. You know, it is a major issue. So a piece of feedback that, you know, we touched on last time as well was the labor cost. I do think you can probably push your price point up a little higher, make a little bit more money per transaction, especially since you're going to be manufacturing right here in Canada, which is a wonderful thing to see. So I think I'm very excited to hear about your next steps and your plans, and please keep me in the loop. And I will be a customer, promise.
Okay, so you got to follow up on that. Stacy.
Well, I'll be a customer too. I think it's fantastic that you're thinking about the circular economy. I think that you are really addressing a need that I think is your own desire to want to shop in a sustainable way. I think that's amazing. I would encourage you. Well, first of all, I think your storytelling is also amazing, and that you make a very poignant point about how much water is used in the production of clothing. I think that's really unforgettable, the way that you have made that point, and I hope that our audience will carry that with them well beyond tonight. I think one thing that you could be really successful in doing is positioning your brand as sort of the trusted brand for sustainable fashion. And we talked a little bit about this on the call, but that one thing that was really important to you and your team was not creating a luxury brand, but a really affordable brand. And how do you sort of elevate what you're doing? And my suggestion would be you really think about how you can in your branding work to make yourselves the reliable go-to source for sustainable fashion. And in doing so, I would think about some of the potential partnerships you could make with other retail brands to really bring this to life. So congrats.
Terrific. So Eva, before I turn it to you for the last word, I will say I have watched thousands of pitches, and not only has the quality been very high of the pitches, but I do want to say that the feedback from the judges has been terrific, and I think we've all benefited from that. So last word to you, Eva.
Thank you, Reza. I think this company has the potential of speaking to every customer, that have this problem of, I have very little money, but I want to look good. What am I going to do? Now, while I love this idea, I also see a little bit of a competition. Well, I wouldn't say a little bit, because the barrier of entry into this market is actually relatively low. Someone can just go to a thrift store and they can create something, they can put it on the Instagram and start selling. So what that means is then you may not necessarily see a brand of like, oh, we repurpose clothing and start selling as a big brand, but there are actually many options for the consumers to go to other places, go onto an Instagram and find these suppliers that are selling similar product. Have you thought about you become the marketplace to actually pull all these people together so that you actually become the amplifier for this major movement? That will actually benefit far more than just the team who are creating these products, because there are actually many creators on the internet all over the world doing something like this. Obviously, people will say, well, that's what Etsy is all about. Well, Etsy, it's actually a marketplace for everything under the sun. But if you actually focus and say, we are the marketplace for all these circular economy for clothing, all of a sudden you have a differentiator, and you will be able to actually get all those people who are passionate to participate in this economy, not only as a consumer, because the most powerful marketplaces is anybody can be a creator and a consumer. Think about YouTube, think about Instagram. You consume, you supply at the same time. So I think that will make this a much more scalable opportunity, and it has the potential to become a movement rather than just a brand.
Thank you, Eva and Reza. I'm just going to jump in here now. We've heard all 8 pitches, and we've heard feedback, and I think the learning has been really significant. We're at the point in our program where the polls are now closed, and we're going to tally the scores from the audience tonight to find out the winners of the Mary Leslie Hallward 74 Innovation Awards. So we're going to take a little bit of time to do that, and just a few minutes actually. But Reza, let me just bend your ear a little bit. Look, as the founder of Next 36, the real power behind that endeavor in our country, and having seen how that has grown, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the range of projects and products that our young entrepreneurs have put in front of us tonight. One of the criteria was that this endeavor had to have a social impact. My question to you is, from all your experience supporting entrepreneurs in our country, how high a value do we place on the success or the opportunities for success when we integrate social impact into the equation? Is that something that you see is part of the equation that will, guarantee success or encourage success? Can you give us your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So look, I think it's a great question. And I would actually say that the nirvana is doing both, meaning as an entrepreneur, if you can create or build a business that you feel has an incredibly powerful social mission behind it, meaning a positive impact, that's nirvana, right? That is, if you're building a business that's that is doing something good for the world. As an entrepreneur, there's nothing better, right? Because you're not only doing what you love and hopefully building something that you care about, but it's actually speaking to, I think, a fundamental human instinct, which is to have a positive impact. And so what I would say is that young entrepreneurs, what I would strive to do is to actually merge those two things and see whether you can create a business that you feel really strongly about, but also as part of it has a social and positive impact. Because what you will find is that you will be able to recruit better talent because people will be drawn to that social mission. You will find that people will give you a break earlier. This doesn't mean that you forego profit. This just means that it's part of the mission. And so the ability to create a company that has really societal positive impact, I think is what every young entrepreneur should be striving for.
Thanks. And I like the term nirvana, it's the best of both worlds, isn't it, to Reza?
Yeah.
Another question, just because you're here and you've got so much knowledge to share with all of us, as did those incredible judges. Can we have a shout out for the judges? Oh my goodness. Talk about feedback. I don't know. I've got a page of notes here for my next endeavor. But listen, Reza, it doesn't always work. We talk about entrepreneurial endeavors and they don't work. From your experience, and particularly in this world of young entrepreneurs, why do we see failure? Could you highlight for us 2 or 3? What are the key themes, the reasons why our young entrepreneurs are failing?
Well, so I want to be very clear. I've never met an entrepreneur that hasn't failed, meaning I think it is actually a prerequisite to being a successful entrepreneur. Meaning that entrepreneur that says they've never failed doesn't exist, okay? And through failure, there's tremendous learning, right? So no one likes to fail, but the benefit of failing is that you've actually learned something. So actually thinking about why you failed and what you might have done wrong and the key learnings just positions you in a way where your probability for success the next time around is far greater, right? And so what I'd say is it's far better to try and fail than not to try at all. Because I can assure you, the person that has tried and failed has learned much more than the person who hasn't tried at all. And so my money will always be on that person who tried and failed because they will have learned and they will ultimately be successful. So I think failure is and it's one of the big differences between sort of the Silicon Valley culture and the culture here. There's nothing wrong with failing, especially early on. There is nothing wrong with failing, right? Swing the bat. You're going to miss the ball many times, but one day you will hit it and you will hit it really, really far.
What's the appetite for entrepreneurship in our country?
Well, look, I will tell you, I think it is far better today than it was 10 years ago. I think, and you see, I mean, sort of the mentors of the judges, this is exactly the kind of thing we need. And so when I think about when I came back to Canada and where we are today over the past decade, I think there is a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem. We still have a ways to go versus the Silicon Valleys of the world. But at our core, we now have a group of mentors, we have a group of venture capitalists, and we have an ecosystem that is primed and ready to really do some great things, right? And so I think, and look, it's critically important to our country, right? We cannot compete on scale, right? We need to compete on entrepreneurship, creativity, and innovation. And so we have to have people who are willing to build things that matter globally and that are going to have a big impact. And we have to move from being a resource-based economy to one that is focused on innovation and entrepreneurship. And the things that our 3 judges are doing are critically important to actually creating that sort of an ecosystem.
And speaking of competing, thanks very much, Reza, for that. Karen, I just wanted to let you know that Dawn and I have returned from tabulating the votes.
Hey, exciting.
So that would tell me that the time has come. Oh my goodness, we've been waiting for. I'd now like to introduce Don Pacilio, who is Branksome's technology experience designer and coordinator, and who has been working closely with our Noodlers this year. And he will announce the 3rd place team and the winner of $400. Over to you, Don.
So just before I announce our 2nd runner-up, I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate all the teams for your hard work and dedication. Your passion for your companies really shines through, and it's really evident by just the unique directions you've taken your initiatives. I think the variety that we saw and how you've taken it, especially when we shifted due to the pandemic, really shows your passion and drive for your companies. So it's been a real pleasure to work with such talented entrepreneurs, especially watching you persevere and dedicate your ideas to each other. So thank you. So I hope you continue with this entrepreneurial spirit. So with that, I'd like to congratulate our second runner-up by audience vote. Please join me in congratulating Speech Necklace.
Oh. Wow.
Congratulations, and over to you, Michael, to announce our first runner-up.
Oh, what terrific news. Congratulations, Speech Necklace. A product that's really designed to make a difference to people. Absolutely. I'm turning it over to Michael Anipalarchio, who will now announce the second place team and the winner of $1,000.
Thanks very much. Congratulations to that last team. It's my pleasure now to announce, I feel like I should be ripping open an envelope, to announce the first runner-up, and that team this year is Restore.
Cheers and a round of applause for Restore. I know there's many people out there giving them a cheer. That is exciting. So Speech Necklace and Restore, you're going home with prizes from this evening and recognition of your creativity, your innovation, and your real focus on getting product to market. Well, that would bring me to the top prize. This is the winner of our first Noodle pitch competition at Branksome Hall. And I have the great honor of announcing tonight's top prize winner, the $10,000 winner, and that goes to Trees CO2. Congratulations. Reza, maybe you want to ask Caitlin and Lauren how they're feeling.
Lauren, how are we feeling?
Wow, thank you so much. This is amazing. We really appreciated the opportunity to participate in Noodle and get to see all the other companies grow. It's been such an awesome experience for us. So thank you so much, judges, Mr. Facilio, Mr. IP, and everyone here tonight.
Well, you know what? You took advantage of a great opportunity. So congratulations. So just one quickly to the judges. I'm going to ask you quickly if you can tell us what stood out for you, what in particular stood out for you, and had you choose this team. So Stacy, maybe I'll start with you.
Well, I just have to say a huge congratulations to everyone involved. I mean, there were no easy choices here, and I think that every one of these companies and these young entrepreneurs is destined for success, whether with the idea that they brought to the table tonight or others that they choose to pursue. So, but congratulations to the winners, Trees CO2. I mean, I think it's really your drive, your determination, your ability to already bring your vision to life that really stood out for me. So congratulations.
Great. Jennifer, I think we need teas all the way around, but what stood out for you with these two?
Teas, trees, you know, all good. Now, I'm almost speechless. I'm so excited for you guys. Congratulations to all of the teams, but especially to you. And I think for me, what set you apart was your commitment, your clarity, and your purpose. And that shone through your pitch from end to end. I knew exactly what you were doing. I want to get behind it. I'd love to do an event actually for my company. Let's talk offline on that. Maybe we could do a tree planting with pluck session. I'll supply the tea, you supply the trees. Congratulations. Well done.
And Eva, how about you? What was it about them that inspired you?
This team is just amazing in the way that it blows me away. When they actually brought in the topic of carbon offset, I'm like, what? You high school kids. You know, I go to CDL mentoring companies and they create marketplace to talk about carbon offset, and I'm hearing it here at Branksome Hall, you know, from two high school girls. So what that means is that a lot of the ideas coming out at this age group, social impact is like in the forefront because that's what's closest to their heart. And I see it throughout all the companies in this cohort. They are very passionate about solving environmental issues, climate change, and everyone is like that. But this team take one ginormous step forward is to think about, while solving all these problems, where is the monetization strategy right here? To me, that set this team apart from everyone else.
Terrific. So Caitlin, Lauren, tell us some final thoughts. What's next for you guys?
Well, thank you so much, judges. This is such an exciting opportunity for us. And especially because all of the teams were so amazing. Really, anyone could have won. I think everyone deserves first place. So thank you so much, judges, and everyone in the Noodle cohort for your support. I would say the next steps for us are with the $10,000. We are going to have $7,500 go to our student ambassador program tree planting events, which includes for this spring organizing some online programming for students to be involved virtually if events can't go forward. And then we will be putting $2,500 towards research and development with a Canadian drone tree planting restoration company. And we're looking forward to really just expanding from here. The $10,000 is an amazing opportunity that will be such a great help and very significant to pushing Trees CO2 forward.
And we're so excited as well, just echoing Lauren, to be launching our Plantathon Pledge platform this spring, if COVID happens or not. So just to say again, thank you so much, everyone. This has been a great opportunity for us. So thank you so much for your time tonight.
Great, congratulations. Karen, over to you.
Thanks, Reza. And Caitlin and Lauren, listen, that's true seed money. We know it's going to grow as all seeds do. And may I offer my congratulations to every single student that's been on the program tonight. It does wrap things up. A special thank you to you, Reza. You know, we learned from you, and you've been a great role model to Branksome and a great friend of Branksome. So thank you very much for being with us this evening. Really made it special.
And congratulations, Karen, to you and your team for pulling this
Yeah,
off.
thank you. It's a great night. Eva Lau, Stacy Klein, and Jennifer Commons. Like I say, I've got pages of notes because I'm loving learning from the three of you. And thank you so much. And of course, to our talented and dedicated teams, all the students participating in the inaugural Noodle program. Don Basilio and Michael Ianni Palarchio, the two Branksome employees that really had the vision, the brain power, the passion to take a new idea and create a program for our school that will last for years to come. And of course, our ACE team, the Advancement and Community Engagement team, all your hard work to bring this to life. Imagine that we're doing this virtually and on the web. The creativity that this team has put into this is really first class. So I'm excited to announce to everybody on the call tonight that our new teams will be coming up. We'll be inviting students through an information session beginning on November 11th and 12th at 4:00 p.m. You too, if you're watching, can be part of Noodle, and we'll be here again next year. Keep an eye out for more information from Mr. Basilio. To all of you, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting Branksome. And truly a historic moment and one of our very, very proudest. And good night, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations.